As informed, now we'll have voice of customer, and to do so, I would like to request Mr. Ramani M to kindly come up on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause to Mr. Ramani M. And I also like to request Mr. Saju to kindly come up on stage to felicitate Mr. Ramani M.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my great pleasure and honor to extend a warm welcome and to introduce our special guest, one of our prestigious customer for this event today, Mr. Ramani, founder and managing director of Money Group of Companies. Mr. Ramani has got more than 4 decades of experience, rich experience in power distribution field. He started off his career immediately after his studies. He's basically a chemical engineer, and he started off with his trading firm, Money Sales. They are also our one of our prestigious channel partner. He started off as trading organization in 1983, sir, and then he went on to panel building organization called Load Controls, who is also our one of our prestigious customer. He started off that organization in 1980, and moving forward in 2007, he has started off with Modutec, basically structure manufacturing of panel building. So please join me in welcoming our special guest and to share his views and also the expectation and also thoughts as a customer. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. It's a great privilege and honor for me to be here amongst so many of you who are budding ABBites, if I may call you all. And you all form the complete core, the strength, and the back-end support of an organization like ABB. So I understand that amongst you, there are people from the manufacturing field, the quality, supply chain management, and service areas. And I do understand that it's not often that you come across a customer, but then at the same time, your world doesn't rotate without a customer. So I must say that, when we have a factory like this, ABB has been a big, huge organization worldwide. It's been in India for the last 75 years, or is it in the world 75 years? India 75 years, and that's an amazing, game of survival, sustenance, and successful progress. It's been able to build a factory where I'm honored to say that load controls, switchboards also serve the electrical distribution needs of this beautiful building in Nelmangla. And you have a brand which each one of you can, I see all of you proudly wearing it on your jackets today. And it is something which is a big pride. It's not given to everybody. And when you have achieved this much and you have been able to roll out electrical switchgear products which are recognized the world over, still you have felt it appropriate to have a customer's voice and listen to the customer. And this is something which is laudable. It's not that companies do not come forward to hear the customer's voice. It is very important. But to do it in such an organized manner is something which I personally feel is a very good plus for an organization. And why is it important? Each one of you in your day-to-day routines would have a particular concept about what the customer wants. And sometimes when we hear the customer, we find that there is a gap between what you have perceived as what your brand sells in the market, as how your products have been received in the market, to how it is actually being perceived. There could be a gap. And it's always important for us to understand whether we need to bridge this gap and how do we do it. And this is something which is very, very important. And I'm very happy that ABB has chosen me to be that person who would share my thoughts in this regard. So firstly, I'd like to say congratulations to ABB, because it is ultimately the thought which really has to be appreciated. And when you look at companies, when I, for instance, as a businessman, look to seeing whom I should do business with, one thing which stands out is my understanding what is the culture of the company I'm going to be dealing with. And I'm very conscious of the fact that any other company also wanting to deal with my company is also looking at seeing what is the culture of my organization and what do we stand for and what are we very, very particular about in terms of our professionalism, our way of thinking, our way of execution, so on and so forth. And when I look at ABB, I find that yours is a company which has really chosen to invest heavily in India. And I've been to your Nelamangala plant, your Pina plant, and every time even your Nasik switchboard unit, and every time I come to factories such as yours, I feel very inspired with the housekeeping, inspired with the systems and processes in place, inspired with the people who work for your company. And all this adds on to having the Indian youth feeling that somewhere in the corner of their mind, instead of going overseas and working, why don't we work in India in a company like ABB, MNCs, where that kind of learning, that culture is already available here. And to that extent, I would say that companies such as yours has played an important role in reversing the brain drain from our beautiful country. And each and every one of you are being exposed to such technology, such systems, such leadership thinking, that should there be a situation in your life where you need to move on from ABB, you will go out there and create something which is beautiful. And that is what our country requires. So hearty congratulations on ABB, being acknowledged today as a technology leader, and each of you being given this opportunity for phenomenal learning, serving, and contributing. Before I go forward, I'd like to also share with you about myself. Like Jyoti said, I'm a chemical engineer. And as I was studying for my chemical engineering, I'm one amongst three brothers. My eldest brother, he started an electrical trading company called Money Sales Bangalore, called Money Sales in Chennai. I'm basically from Chennai. So I would normally find myself going to his office during the summer holidays, sitting at the counter, trying to see if I can help him with sales, help him with collections. So much so that finally, when I graduated from chemical engineering and I was applying for various jobs, my brother one day said, come, and we went to the Marina Beach, and he made this offer to me as to why don't we open a branch of Money Sales in Bangalore. Without thinking for a split second, I said, why not? And there I was in 1983, all of 22 years, came over to Bangalore, did not have the knowledge about the local language, nor the topography, nor anything about business, but started with a will and a can-do from a paying guest accommodation. I used to keep the MCBs and distribution boards of MDS SWitchgear Limited, that's the agency we started with, under the bed and on my brother's motorcycle. I would go around Bangalore trying to see who would require MCBs and distribution boards. Thereafter, today, Money Sales Bangalore, we are significant stockists for ABB. Last year, our contribution to ABB's purchase was around 15 crores. We are enjoying this relationship not just in money sales, but also, as Jyoti said, in load controls as well as in Modutec, and I'll come to that. Load controls, I started because I wanted to move from selling products to selling solutions. And I started in a 1,000 square feet shed with conventional hand shearing machine, fly press, spray painting for the painting purposes. And then, as I was progressing in my manufacturing, I realized that there was months where there would be no orders and months where we would be overloaded. And I had to say no to customers. And I felt that there should be a better way of manufacturing electrical switchboards. So in the year 1996, when I got an opportunity to go to Singapore, I was there for a week. And in that week, I visited about 18 panel building units just to understand how the world makes panels. And that's where I got to know that even in Singapore, you have a section of the panel builders still doing panels in a conventional welded technology. And then there were panel builders who would do it in a semi-modular system of manufacturing. And then on the last day I was there, I went to this panel building setup where I saw a truly world-class modular switchboard enclosure system. And I tell you, it stole my heart. I pursued this technology. I went to Sri Lanka, went to Malaysia, went to Dubai, went to Denmark, trying to understand, talking to people who are using this modular technology, came back to India, formed a team. And then in the year 2000, we were able to roll out our own modular enclosure system. The day we rolled out the modular enclosure system, we dropped the welded panels like a hot brick. And what happened was that the market started recognizing us differently. They said, here is a panel builder who's able to give a very flexible panel. He's able to keep to his on-time delivery. He's able to give a quality which is predictable. So the recognition for our switchboard industry slowly started becoming stronger and stronger, and it also took us to consultants who were curious to know what we were doing. So as we grew in strength on the modular, I said I must form a separate company where we can sell enclosures to the market. And that's when in the year 2007, I introduced Modutec Ready Panels Private Limited. And this was with the idea of selling enclosures. But I tell you, this is also something which happens to entrepreneurs, I would imagine, that for 10 years I got cold feet. I didn't do a single bill. I didn't cut a single bill. But what I did was I continuously filed nil return to the government, keeping that company alive till the year 2017, when I suddenly landed myself with a 35 crore order. And the previous year, I had done 36 crores turnover. So, and they wanted these panels in just 5 months flat. So I had to double my turnover month on month. And when I look back, it was possible only because we had the modular technology with us. And all the stakeholders where we supplied the panels for Kia Motors, which is in the outskirts of Bangalore in Andhra Pradesh, they are so happy with us that last month we picked up the second big chunk of order from the same customer. This also made me understand that I have hit upon a technology which the world wants. And therefore, I said that this is something which I must put my entire thrust on. So what I did was, Money Sales, Ganesh is the name of my CEO. He has been with me for more than 3 decades. So I rewarded him with 30% equity of the company and saying, please take control of Money Sales. And that today is my cash cow. It keeps giving me regular business. I picked up an ex-ABB person by name Suresh, who is our CEO in load controls. This month, we are making him an executive director, and he is independently taking care of load controls. And that gives me a lot of time to focus on Modutec, a product which I feel its time has come. And just for you to get an idea about Modutec, probably request for a small video to be played for you. I press it. So that's our factory. Modutec factory, serving the purpose of speeding up electrical distribution worldwide. Hi. Just two profiles. One is a 3-bend profile and the other is a 4-bend profile. That's how the whole panel gets put together. So that's Modutec for you. So what I'm doing right now is a mixture of electrical trading on the one hand, electrical switchboard manufacturing, and enclosure manufacturing, where we supply to other switchboard manufacturers, not just in India, but worldwide. We are about 40% of what we manufacture in Modutec, we export. We have distributors in Australia, New Zealand, several parts of Africa and the Middle East. Now coming to ABB. The thought that strikes me first when I need to give a feedback is that ABB's products are excellent. So I must say that whatever you people are doing here in the factories and in your various departments, please continue to do that. It is, the product looks beautiful. The product is very presentable. It's a fit and forget type of product, and it's therefore obviously a world leader in the electrical smart power area where all of you are from. So ACB ranges, you all have brought in the formula range of ACBs also now, which is very compact, very beautiful product for OEM market. And then you have the Emax 2 series as well. So whatever I have seen with Emax 2, right from the earlier occasions where the terminals were firm in one direction and was not able to get shifted, which has been corrected by you. So one thing I realize is that you're a listening organization and you understand, you ask for the customer's feedback, and then you're able to correct the product or improve the product to ensure that it is more user-friendly, which is very good. Similarly, your MCCB range, they've been a very good range. You've got a lot of automation also put into it. We did have some problems with 800 amps motorized MCCBs, but then when we gave the feedback, we realized that the recent ones, which is coming into the market, that problem has been resolved. So this is what is very important. We need to keep listening to the customer, taking the necessary action and making the appropriate corrections. Your range of MCBs, I saw your MCB factory at Nelmangla, and I must say it's really state-of-the-art factory. The robos which are there to take materials from one end to the other and all the lean manufacturing which has been put in place, the automation systems, the measurement which happens at every table with the appropriate monitoring which is enabled, and therefore the management is all world class. So congratulations, and keep it up. Keep listening to the customer, and that makes a big difference. Delivery and logistics, however good a product we manufacture, unless it reaches the customer in the right time, without damages, that is when the product really it gets liked by the customer. So ABB is very good on this, but there is also a little scope for improvement is what I feel. When we order for a particular consignment of ACBs, MCCBs, contactors, etc., invariably we find that the number of lots in which it comes to us is quite a bit. If the supply chain management can be looked at in terms of ensuring that the kitting takes place and the consignment goes in a faster method, faster way to reach the customers, it would be even better. It's good now, I'm not decrying, but I'm only looking at seeing how you can improve it even further. So all these are aspects which needs to be looked into. I mean, when I particularly have started supplying Modutec enclosures to faraway places, I find that even though we pack it very well and sometimes we send it even by air consignment, when it reaches the customer's place, there is a damage because of XYZ handling. So it's very important for us to try and understand what is it that we need to be doing extra to be more scientific in the way we are able to organize for the packing, to see to it that all exigencies are taken care of, and particularly with the Indian roads, that's something which needs a lot of attention. Coming to competitiveness, any organization, we have this problem about having to be better than competition in several areas. What are they? It's not just QCDS today. QCDS is better in quality, better in delivery, better at cost, and better in service. And today it doesn't end there. The customer wants more innovation. Customer wants better differentiation. Customer wants a wow factor when he sees the product. So every time we have to sort of step back and think as to what is it that we can do differently to our products so that our customers will appreciate it a little bit more. In fact, your present CEO, he has been one amongst you some years ago. He was in the control switchgear division, which is now the smart power division of ABB. And he has risen over the last 2.5 decades to become the CEO of the company. So the question which each one of you could probably ask yourselves is, how much time am I going to take to become the CEO of ABB? And it is possible. All we have to do is we have to think differently, think empathetically, and really put our commitment on the table to ensure that we give the customer the best possible product. Often what happens, and this happens in my company also, when we get a product problem, we look at how to solve the problem. And till such time the problem is solved, everybody is on our heads, right from the top management of the company. And then once the problem is solved, everybody goes off into their own priorities. And what happens as a result is that the preventive action takes a backseat. And this is something which we have to protect ourselves against. We have to remember that it is not just the corrective action, but also the preventive action which has to be taken in order to build systems, build checklists, so that the problem doesn't happen again. Once we keep doing these things repeatedly, then what happens is our competitiveness increases. Like, for example, in my own company, we are looking at seeing whether the profiles which we are manufacturing for the modular enclosures which you saw, we are thinking whether we can go for cold roll forming rather than having it on we are right now doing it on a power press and then bending it. If I do it on a cold roll forming, my material handling, number one, comes down, and number two, my economy of manufacturing, it comes to a very, very economical level. Just a shift in thinking like this. So economy of scale is very, very important, and better ways of doing something is very, very important. Another example from my Modutec enclosures is that in India, ABB, if you look at their medium voltage switchgear, you do it with the enclosure. The panels are made out of alu-zinc sheets, and the door alone is CRCA with powder coating. Similarly, Schneider. But Schneider in Europe, for their Ocken design of control panels, they have gone for alu-zinc material. In fact, beyond alu-zinc, there is also a material called magnelis or ZAM, which is a zinc, aluminum, and magnesium, which is being used today by panel builders in Turkey. It's not yet come to India. It's not yet being manufactured here. But what I realized was when I'm making my panels out of alu-zinc, I completely avoid powder coating, and therefore my material handling comes down. And although I pay a little premium over the CRCA sheet, it's more than covered by the fact that I don't have to powder coat it. So when we apply our minds to such technologies, such changes, then automatically our competitiveness kicks in. Today, if you look at the scenario in India, ABB products are on par with Schneider and Siemens. Sometimes ABB is more expensive, sometimes Schneider is more expensive, and it goes on that way. But when it comes to the next level of Legrand, L&T, and Eaton, it's very difficult for ABB to compete with them at this point of time. Now, the idea of your bringing in this formula ACBs and lines like that is also probably to see how you can beat this kind of competition. Be at it. Look at all other alternatives. See where else you can work around cutting down the cost without compromising on quality and reliability. That is the way you'll be able to really go up the ladder in your competitiveness. Your products of UMC, I was under the impression, Jyoti was correcting me a few minutes back, that your pricing compared to Schneider and Siemens were very high. If it is very competitive now, I'm happy to hear that. Similarly, on your meters, we need to be working more on approvals. Your ABB has been a late entrant in meters, but it's good that you're in meters because for the customer, he's able to deal with one principal company. And this is the trend which is there in the market, right? One large project coming up, they don't want to be talking to 2-3 switchgear people. They say one switchgear person comes, talks to us right from the switch to the medium voltage switchgear. Everything goes with one party. So we need to be ready for that. So very happy to see these initiatives being taken by ABB. And then when you come to support and collaboration, I must say that my experience with ABB has been really good. Probably in India, no other switchboard manufacturer would have type tested his switchboards with ABB switchgear 4 times as what my company has. And 4 times we have done the IEC 61439 type testing. And in this, when I sit with ABB seeking their support, your Dev Chandra Kuril is very helpful, very technically knowledgeable, and he has gone out of his way to see how we can understand what are the precautions which we need to be taking in order to see that we successfully pass the type test. This kind of a support is invaluable for a panel builder. And this is where this collaboration comes in, and the more and more you're able to think in terms of seeing how you can make your customers happy, comfortable, technically strong, you yourself will become that much stronger. So when we look at the the knowledge sharing and the learning opportunities which panel builders like us have. We have visited your factories several times. Every time we come to your factory, we come in groups, as panel builders, sometimes invited by ABB, sometimes we have come from our group of COSMA. I'll come to that in a while. COSMA is the Control Panel and Switchgear Manufacturers Association. We learn so much, as I said, when I moved from my 1,000 square feet factory to 12,000, then today we are in a 62,000 square feet factory. And when I had to have the factory put up, the thoughts which came to my mind is, how does ABB do it? And we had the entire shop floor epoxy flooring done. We saw to it that the height of the panel, height of the industry was 27 feet, so that it's comfortable in all respects. And we are also able to put a mezzanine as the business grows. So these kind of inspirations, we have drawn a lot of lessons from ABB, and that is something which is coming to each one of you like on a silver platter. So it's important for you to appreciate how this has evolved over a period of time, and what is that value which you are exposed to in terms of systems and processes, and that is what makes good for a factory that needs to be scaling. And the kind of seminars and exhibitions ABB has is also something where there is a lot of interaction between ABB and the user community, and this is where everyone gets benefited. And this is a certificate which Modutec received from ABB. I mean, this is one of the things which I feel very indebted to ABB for. That when I asked, it was delivered. And what I asked was, I have done the type testing of Modutec's enclosure systems with ABB Switchgear. I just want you to acknowledge it. And they gave me the certificate. Now, what the certificate means to Modutec is that IEC 61439 itself, if you look at it, it is a standard. Now, why is the standard important? Because the end user who's investing crores of rupees in a hotel like this, for instance, he wants safety, he wants reliability, he wants top quality. And when he is able to get that, then what he is able to depend on are these kind of certifications. So it becomes a qualifier. Now, what happens when it is a qualifier? Trust gets built. So the electrical consultant is also able to trust a panel builder who's got a certification, and the end user is also able to trust that panel builder because of certification. And when you get a certification like this from a multinational company like ABB, it contributes hugely to the amount of trust the end user feels. So all these are, humane approaches which are very much appreciated. So what happens is, when it comes to the customer's choice, you all would be knowing, but I'm here to reinforce to you that ABB as a brand is a very established brand in the world. And what is important now is for us to maintain and take it forward. There's a beautiful book written by Marshall Goldsmith. He says, what got you here won't get you there. Over the last 75 years, you've been able to build a huge organization. But what is important for us to appreciate is that what got you here won't get you there. And if you need to get there, which is becoming an even bigger organization, then there are certain other skills which we'll need to hone, and that is something which we'll need to continuously be working on. Continual improvement is the name of the game. From our side, we have been instrumental, along with the ABB team, to convert a number of our customers from various makes to ABB make. And some of the customers are Bhartiya City. It's a huge city. You would be knowing it. It's near the airport. Your Adarsh developers, Carle builders, Apu enterprises, Vaishnavi developers, Divyashri, the latest one, and many more. So this kind of a partnership which Load Control shares with Modutec is also something which is precious. We hold it precious to our heart because this kind of a support, we don't often get it. And this is something which we cherish over a period of time. ABB, if I have to give you a feedback, then maybe you could pick up these kind of customers who have decided to go with ABB switchgear and probably hold in-house seminars in their respective conference rooms. Talk to them about your products, take feedback on how they felt about how the product has worked for them, so on and so forth. Now, coming to COSMA, COSMA is as I said, the Control Panel and Switchgear Manufacturers Association. It's an all-India organization which is headquartered in Mumbai. And I'm also one of the directors of COSMA. I take care of the South India operations. COSMA is we panel builders, like how sometimes, when we talk about Schneider and Siemens, there is a certain amount of anxiety and apprehension which probably happens in another switchgear manufacturer's mind. Similarly, when there are certain aspects of the industry dynamics which keep changing, then it's important for panel builders also to get together so that we are able to create a kind of an influence in the market. And we are also able to take care of what is important for us, for our survival, sustenance, and growth. So we've come together, we learn together, we visit factories together, we have various kind of seminars together, we conduct webinars together. We are now going for a holiday to Pondicherry. Recently, we went for a holiday to the Northeast. So there's a lot of bonhomie which happens between amongst panel builders and a lot of exchange. We have a WhatsApp group of around 324 panel builders. And if anybody wants a particular variety of switchgear or meter or relay, he puts it in the group and then somebody else says, hey, I have it. That sort of a bonhomie is there. So ABB has come forward to sponsor several, meets of COSMA. And that way there is a lot of fellowship which is exchanged between panel builders and ABB. And we are very grateful from COSMA for that generosity. Sales and marketing is the bottom line for any organization. In fact, there was the medium small scale industries, they form the backbone of the Indian economy. And there was an organization which did a survey as to what ails the medium and small scale industries in India. Why are we not competing? Why are we not able to grow like what China is able to grow? It's the world's manufacturing hub. And recently in the papers, I think it was Narayan Murthy who said it's going to take a long time. It's a very audacious goal for India to think that they can become a manufacturing competition for China. So what differentiates? And the conclusion that this research came to was that Indian MSMEs need to put their act together as far as sales and marketing is concerned. We are not very naturally inclined towards sales and marketing as what the Chinese are. You engage with one Chinese company and you'll experience how many calls you get from them in terms of follow-up. So this is something which is very important. Now, when I look at switchgear companies in India, I somehow get this feeling that ABB needs to increase the number of sales people on the field. So it's just my observation, so food for thought for you. And we need to engage more with whether it's the distributor, whether it's the panel builder, whether it's the OEM. And there's also that social media presence which can be going up quite hugely. This comes at very little cost. In fact, I was just sharing with Kiran over lunch today that I'm creating a kind of a studio in my factory and, doing a lot of acoustic work in that, because I'm going to be releasing a lot of videos week on week to get into a little educational promotion of why people should move from welded panels to modular technology. So And all this comes at very little cost, but the reach it gives us is something phenomenal. And then if you look at the technical training centers, when Schneider acquired L&T, they got 3 training centers just like that. And I have been to 2 of them and undergone courses out there. All what laid the foundation for me as a panel builder, I learned from these kind of training programs. So I would say that, that is something which also ABB can apply their minds to seeing how they can increase on the engagement, having more training centers, having more service centers, having more vocational training centers, so on and so forth. And then when you come to the brand of a company, the brand communicates the direction and quality of thinking of that organization. And when you look at ABB, we see that there is a lot of humane element in ABB. And it's not often that you see this kind of a humane element in other organizations. This humane element is very, very important. And when you engage in CSR activities, what happens is that you're not all the time thinking of what can I get, what can I profit from, how can I, win the race ahead of the other person. But here it becomes a game of giving. Now, life is not always like this. There's always up and down in any organization, in anybody's personal life as well. And when you go down, that's when your nature of giving will come and help you. It'll say, so what? What's next? That attitude is very important. And when you're able to bring in that kind of a conduct in the organization of engaging in CSR activities, when you get an opportunity, you got to put your full heart in it and go forward to engage. Because it's not just the organization that is going to benefit from it. Each one who engages in that activity will also hugely benefit as a human being. So this is something which is really amazing, and hats off to ABB on that as well. The last slide where, I want to appreciate this opportunity which has been given to me. I honestly have very fond memories of my engagements with ABB. Last time when the board of directors, worldwide board of directors of ABB were in India, I was also one of the invitees, and I had the opportunity to listen to quite a number of the board of directors, as along with Nandan Nilekani also, who gave a very beautiful talk. Kiran and Gopu, Dhananjay Sanas, it's been 3-4 decades of exposure to each other. We really go beyond business in our engagement, and there he is in our stall in Alicia, something which is very, very, very much appreciated. So, in money sales, we also had ABB come in and put up a display board of their products, which is also a good initiative, much appreciated. So all this, to sum up, we must appreciate that there is somebody out there who can contribute to our thinking different from what we are thinking presently. And as much as we can open our minds to understand and accept that, this is only one small direction which is being demonstrated today. Keep that going, keep that on, and see how it may helps you to evolve as a professional. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the lovely insight, sir. Now I would like to invite Mr. Saju on stage to felicitate Mr. Kiran Dutt and Mr. Ramani M with a token of appreciation. Can we have Mr. Kiran Dutt and Mr. Ramani M on stage, please?